Hi, my name is Sheila Considine Sweeney, and I'm the Director of Integrated Care at Greater Nashua Mental Health. I was really happy that I was able to receive my first COVID vaccine a few weeks ago and looking forward to my second. I had minimal side effects, and I feel it's my responsibility as a leader at Greater Nashua to lead by example and do what I can in the community to help protect my staff, my clients, and my friends and my family. I know people have questions and you're nervous and you're stressed. There's a lot of great information out there. I consulted the CDC website as well as the Greater Nashua website and our infection control nurse and my own medical provider. And I feel like I made the decision that was right for me and right for my family. So I encourage you all to get educated and do your part to protect the community. Thank you.
Welcome to Public Health Matters, where we talk about matters in public health. My name is Jane Goodman, Public Health Strategist with the Nashua Division of Public Health and Community Services. And I'm joined today by our guest, Joslyn Kuchinski. Welcome, Joslyn.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. Joslyn, you're from the United Way of Greater Nashua.
That's correct.
And I'm sure you wear a lot of hats over there, but today we're here to talk about the Smart Start Coalition. Yes. And your work with that. And so just first of all, tell us what that is.
Absolutely. So we are the Greater Nashua Smart Start Coalition. So we actually serve communities in Nashua and all the surrounding towns, which include Greater Nashua. Our focus is to serve families with children, specifically ages 8 and under, to just have the best possible start to life. So we are a huge coalition of various community members, all working to kind of serve children. And we just look for opportunities to do collaborative effort, reaching those families with programming, offering them supports and resources. We really want to engage parents in that community to hear what they want to see in their community, how we can help their families. So yeah, that's really our big goal.
And what is your target age for Smart Start? Is it 0 to 3 or?
Birth through age 8.
Oh, 0 to 8.
Yes.
Okay, so that's a big range.
It is.
So you're going through about first or second grade with families that are in about first or second grade? Or,
right, yeah, for ones in school.
If I'm doing the math right.
Yeah,
it's been a while since I had
grade.
A first grader, so.
8 years old to second grade, yeah.
Yeah, so so you have individual community members, you have organizations. How have you kind of maintained the work during COVID-19?
It's definitely.
Besides Zoom.
Well, that's a chunk of it, using Zoom, but really that's been a big challenge. So we're still trying to get our bearings, engaging those families. But we realize that a lot of things are happening right now. There's parents doing online at-home school. Some of them are at work still. Some of them are at home with a house full of kids. So it's been a challenge to engage those parents, but I think we're doing a pretty good job, all things considered.
Have you had to re-engineer it all, like offer different services? I found that because of COVID in some of the nonprofits I work with, they've become a little bit more creative on how to, or offer different services because of this.
So we, in addition to using Zoom, we are trying to adhere to all of the COVID restrictions with the types of programs and events that we're going to have. So thus far, we had a really successful event that we were co-hosting with the Nashua Community Music School, and it was all about singing a brave song. So with the events that Smart Start hosts, we want to promote a curriculum called Choose Love. This is a curriculum that was created by Scarlett Lewis. She was a mother of one of the children who sadly passed away in the Sandy Hook shooting. And she just created this really beautiful curriculum, social emotional learning based, about moving from having a negative thought to a positive thought. And we want to incorporate all of those principles in our events because we feel like that is a great way for parents and children to bond using a social emotional approach. And with all of those principles in her curriculum, we were able to incorporate that into an event with the community music school about singing a brave song, being courageous and brave. And so it was interesting. It was over Zoom, and not something that I have ever really experienced, having to do a children's event over Zoom. I did not know how they were going to interact or engage, if they were going to like it, and they just loved it. I just think the teacher there, Tori Caruso, did a fantastic job hosting. We kept the numbers lower just to make sure that we could reach all of the kids and still have that element of engagement there. But it was really successful. And so another thing that we've tried to utilize during COVID is raffles. So yeah, like we want to incentivize parent participation in our meetings. And we do a weekly parent chat, which is a place where we want to hear from parents, like what are the things you want to see in your community? What are the resources you need help with? Maybe we can introduce you to some right in your neighborhood you may not be familiar with, and then introduce you to some other parents just to create a supportive community. It's tough to meet people as it is, and then you layer on COVID and it's like you never leave your house. So trying to create that supportive community for parents online and to incentivize engagement, we've been doing raffles and giveaways and just having those parents pick them up at United Way. So we're really trying to avoid having contact with people to adhere to COVID restrictions, but we have a little bin in the parking lot and they come and pick up a diaper raffle or a gift card.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's one of the odd ways that we've been trying to engage people.
Now, if I am thinking of this correctly, you have a baby shower. Is that part of Smart Start?
Yes.
So tell me about that, because I know our office was involved with that.
Yeah, so it was really just an event where we tried to engage all of the expecting mothers to offer them resources, with whatever you would normally expect to have at a baby shower. And a lot of different community partners were able to donate things and be there and make connections with families to let them know, hey, we're a resource in your neighborhood. You may not be aware of us, but let's make that connection now.
That's great.
Yeah.
And they picked it up as opposed to wandering around and getting all the goodies.
Exactly. Yep.
That's great. So you mentioned the weekly parent chat, and I know that from after this you have to run to that. So tell us just a little bit more about what is entailed in that. How do you find those parents? Who can join? How do they join?
Yeah, absolutely. So our Facebook page is facebook.com/groups/Smart Start Nashua. It's a private group just so that we can respect people's privacy. However, we do just accept all parents as long as they, meet certain requirements. And we make posts about these chats for every Friday, 2 to 2:30. The link is right on our website or on the Facebook page. And it's a place where, again, we just want to promote strong families. We want to introduce you to other parents who can be a supportive connection for you. We want to introduce you to resources that you may need. And then we want to hear from parents and give them a voice to change things in their community. For example, if there's a family who wants to sign their child up for a certain class and they just can't afford to do it, we want to be able to offer that class to families for free because we want to promote free, fun family events that everybody can participate in. So that's just one example of what you could get out of a parent chat, but really we're open to hearing whatever feedback, events, or ideas that parents have. We want to be able to be like the work group for those.
Does it allow the parents to connect too?
Absolutely.
Because that support system, I think of this is a long time ago, but having a play group for my kids and having that, do they bring their kids with them or is this just parents? How does that work?
They bring their kids, their dog, whoever's in the room. I mean, it's a very warm and inviting atmosphere. We get it. I mean, parents who are at home, it's not prim and proper. You can't control what's going on around you. We get that. And so we never set the tone that you have to come all, prim and
dolled up.
No, not at all. Come as you are. And, we want to just meet parents. And we've had some really genuine support within these chats. And we're just starting out, so our numbers aren't super high. But with the engagement that we've had so far, it's just been remarkable to see how much parents really do support each other and just how healing it can be to just have someone to talk to.
Yeah.
Even if they're not giving you all the answers you need, just to be able to vent or, share a concern and be encouraged and supported by a peer, it means a lot. And we've been really blown away at just how supportive our parents have been toward each other.
Yeah, and it's great, especially during these times where people are isolated. It gives them an outlet, it gives them another connection, and hopefully they can have a big outdoor reunion soon.
Yes. Well, speaking of outdoor reunions, we actually have...
Oh, well, I did that very well, didn't I?
Yes, you did. I caught on to that. So we have a series called Free Fun Family Events, and included in that was the music school event. But we also have a Smart Start scavenger hunt that we're going to start doing. And with the warmer weather coming and with us kind of getting our bearings around social distancing, hand sanitizing, all the precautions you're supposed to take with COVID, we're feeling really comfortable to have an outdoor scavenger hunt. We're going to stagger the start times and registration to keep numbers at a minimum, to not promote, large gatherings outside. So we're going to try to keep the numbers really small for the different stops on the scavenger hunt. But I just think it would be such a fun way to introduce families to resource providers along the way, and just get the kids out of the house to do something fun.
So will it be on foot, or will it be, in a park, or?
Yeah, so for example, our first scavenger hunt that we're going to host is going to be Saturday, April 17th. We're targeting specific areas in Nashua to host these scavenger hunts at, so that we can introduce those families to the different resource providers. So we chose the Tree Streets for our first one, and within that scavenger hunt, we're going to have 4 stops. And along the 4 stops at each place, they're going to learn one aspect of Choose Love. So the 4 aspects of Choose Love are courage, forgiveness, gratitude, and compassion in action. And then at each stop, they're going to also be introduced to a resource provider. So the 4 resource providers we have are Nashua PAL, Waypoint Family Resource Center, Head Start Bronstein, and then the Nashua Public Library.
Wow.
Yeah, and then when they get to each stop, each family is going to be able to do an activity or a game that kind of echoes that Choose Love principle, and then also be introduced to a resource provider. And I think it goes a long way to make a personal connection with someone and to have a conversation. So we're hoping to kind of break down those silos of, I don't want to go there, I don't feel comfortable, and just putting a face to an organization.
Wow, that sounds like just a great idea. It's outside, you're connecting people with resources. I wish you so much luck with that, because I hope you get a lot of families that join in, and that they kind of go right down the block together, separately but together. So that they really can take advantage of that, because it's just a great, kind of a sneaky way to introduce people to resources in the community. But you kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone, and I think that's really important for families to make those connections with the services and the resources in our community. Because having lived here for a long time, there are a lot of resources in this community, and a lot of untapped ones. So the more we can do to bring the resources with the people in need together, the better.
That's definitely a goal of our coalition, is to get a bunch of different organizations at the table and talk about what we're doing, so that we know what's going on in this community. What are you offering? Am I offering the same thing? Can I help you with what you're offering? Can we work together? And it just creates a bigger impact, a lasting impact, and it can also decrease duplication of efforts. Nobody wants to recreate the wheel. If 8 places are doing the same thing, we need to be talking, So,
and in these times where we don't have unlimited resources, we have to collaborate, and everyone has their strength too.
Exactly.
So some organizations may do one piece of this a little bit better than others. So let them do it, and then you focus.
Exactly.
So tell me about the Waterford Upstart. I did have someone on the show back a while ago to talk. So how's it going? Tell me about it first, so that we can remind our audience what it's about.
Absolutely, yeah. So Waterford Upstart is a Ready for Kindergarten program. It focuses on literacy. So it's targeted to 4-year-olds, and it's designed to be all online. And so you do this program 15 minutes a day, 5 days a week. And it helps you, or it helps your child get up to where they should be for literacy, but it also has some elements of math and science. So that's really cool. And I think one of the biggest benefits of this program being offered in our community, other than helping with literacy, was that you get a free Chromebook. And we know that not having access to devices is a huge hindrance in your education. I mean, you can be so far behind simply just by not having a computer at home. So giving families the opportunity to have a Chromebook not only helps their child prepare for kindergarten, but even siblings in the house, they can also use that Chromebook because it's theirs to keep. And this is a totally free program. Parents can use that Chromebook. And then also they're offered free internet if they don't have that either.
Okay, and so how many kids were eligible for how many could you take, and how many have signed up?
So we were eligible to do 220 kids. So far we've had a little over 130. And we didn't exactly meet that 220, but I think COVID had a lot to do with that. So really, all things considered, we are just super grateful for the response that we had from parents. We just had a meeting recently just to check in on the results, and it's really been going great so far. This is a nationwide program. It's not just in our area. So it's had proven results in so many other states. And yeah, it's just been going really well.
That's great. So they're connected with the laptop and the curriculum. And now I'm thinking, where did I want to go with this question? Oh, yes, I know. If they want to sign up, is it too late, or do you still have spaces available, or is it closed now? Or
so if they are interested, I would recommend that they email me directly because we're kind of nearing the mid to end portion of this session right now. But I'd be happy to get in touch with those parents and just to see how we can get them prepared maybe for next session or just kind of assess where we're at right now with Waterford to get them enrolled. But my email is jkuchinski@unitedwaynashua.org.
All right, and we'll put that up at the end of the show so people can see that. So we know how to contact you for all these amazing programs. So we want to go on Instagram or Facebook.
That's
Just
right.
give another shout out for those, how to do that.
Yeah, so it's all of our handles are Smart Start Nashua. So on Instagram, that's our handle. And then on Facebook, it's facebook.com/groups/Smart Start Nashua.
All right, easy.
Easy peasy.
Yep, easy name. Well, Joslyn, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having
and
me.
letting us know about this really important resource in the community.
Absolutely.
And we appreciate all the work you do and all the people that you work with as well in this coalition to give our kids a good start.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks. And we'll be back with our next guest.
Hi, my name is Amelia, and I work at Harbor Care. My family and friends live in the community of Nashua. I decided to get vaccinated against COVID-19 for the health and safety of myself, my family, friends, as well as my community. I experienced mild side effects just for a couple of days, and then I was fine. I would like to encourage everyone in the community to get vaccinated against COVID-19, particularly people of color. If I can do it, you can do it.
Welcome back to Public Health Matters, where we talk about matters in public health. I'm joined now by Liz Fitzgerald. Welcome, Liz.
Thank you, Jane.
Another guest from the United Way of Greater Nashua.
Very happy to be here with you.
Really appreciate you coming. And we are still in masks and playing it safe here in the studio. You're really representing today something different than what Joslyn represented, and that is One Greater Nashua. And so let's just start. Tell us what One Greater Nashua is and where it came from.
Sure. So One Greater Nashua is a coalition for Greater Nashua that values the diversity of our community and its people and individuals and organizations that are working to maximize the strengths that all people in our community can contribute and as we work together to make our community great. So it started through a grant that we received from the Endowment for Health when we recognized that Nashua was the most diverse city in the state, but also New Hampshire is one of the least diverse states in the country. So we were not familiar, we're used to very homogeneous decision maker groups and organizations, and we recognized that we needed to work harder to hear and listen from people in our community that had different life experiences and backgrounds in growing up and brought to our community a lot of opportunity with cultural events and foods and a richness that really strengthens communities and for the long haul kind of makes a community vibrant and have a lot of economic opportunity. So we wanted to sort of look at that because the demographics of our state, as you probably know, working in public health, is that we're an aging community too, and that and there are not enough millennials born, say, to replace the baby boomers that will still be retiring. So when we came to One Greater Nashua, we were looking at gaps in the workforce and not having enough people to hire in the jobs that were here. So in order for us to keep our community strong, we needed to make sure that we could satisfy the workforce needs of our employers so that they'll stay here and continue to, invest and be part of the culture of New Hampshire. So we knew that people come from all over and join our community here because of the strength of our community and the great resources that we have, but they might not have the opportunities to showcase their strengths because we don't know they're there. So we were taking a purposeful effort to reach out and meet ethnic community leaders and people who maybe underrepresented in decision-making roles, to hear from them and let them know that we welcome them to our community and we want to maximize the strengths that they bring with them.
So I'm hearing a lot of what you're saying is there's a real economic undertone to this as well, beyond being welcoming, which is incredibly important. And when I sit in my shoes, I think, why wouldn't we be? But obviously, there's more to this too, because what you're saying is, one, we need to fill jobs here. We need to grow our city. We are aging, so when we have new groups come into Nashua, they're younger, and they can fulfill some of these important roles in our community.
Yes, that's right. And then just the cultural diversity that comes to a city is really what attracts millennials too. They like having a lot of restaurant choices and a lot of international cuisines offered, and we could see that growing in our community on Main Street, on the side streets from Main Street, with the different diverse cuisines that people could have and enjoy and learn about and celebrate. And so when you're looking to attract millennials to your community, that ethnic diversity is really something that's attractive to them. So we wanted to make sure that we could help people who had skill sets get their businesses opened and add to the culture, the rich, sort of woven culture of diversity that we have in our population.
And so who can join One Greater Nashua?
Anybody? Anybody at all?
But how does it work? Who does the work? How does it?
So this is hosted by United Way because we also value the diversity of our community, and we want to create opportunities for everyone to participate to their best potential. And we have a monthly meeting. It's the first Thursday of the month. Currently, it's on Zoom, like everything else, but we usually have it in the basement of United Way at 20 Broad Street. When we're able to convene, we'll have it there again. And people come with their, questions about the community and how do they and who do they, and we create a social network of people that are that value diversity and are interested in hearing about people from other cultures and meeting people from other cultures. And then newcomers and new Americans can come and ask their questions and make a network, meet people that they didn't know before. I mean, sometimes we think about the refugees that come from the Congo to Nashua, which is one of the major refugee resettlement populations here, that they all know each other. But Africa is a huge continent, and they come from different places, and they don't know each other at all. But this is an opportunity for them to meet people in our community that have a shared language and some shared culture. And, they've been able to meet each other and form faith communities. There are some pastors here from the different countries in Africa. So it helps people start to plant roots in Nashua and see it as home and feel it as home. And I can't remember what year it was, but a couple of years, maybe the second year that we started the coalition, we approached Mayor Donchis to see if he would consider joining the Welcoming America Initiative, which is all about creating this nation of neighbors feel. So regardless of whether you're an immigrant or you've been in the country for many generations, we've gotten away from knowing our neighbors, And
That's
so
true.
a lot of welcoming America's Principles is for everybody in the community to get out of your backyard and get on your front porch and get to know the people that live around you and how we can help each other. And that's a huge principle for United Way, but it's really the foundation of One Greater Nashua. So it's not a service for immigrants and refugees in particular. It's neighborhood building, community building.
And providing connection.
And providing social capital connections, ways to help entrepreneurs know what steps they need to take to open a business and, and do some of the health things, the cultural differences, like how do we help healthcare providers recognize the cultural differences for somebody so they feel comfortable going to the doctor and asking for services or asking questions. And the same with the schools. Helping parents understand what the U.S. and the New Hampshire education system is like and how they can best support their children being successful in our schools. So a lot of that is part of what we do.
So it sounds like a lot would go on at one meeting.
Well, we never know what's going to go on.
Yeah.
People come up
The
and they
spice
talk.
of life, the variety that must come through, just to understand.
It's really been one of the
issues.
most rewarding parts of my work at United Way lately is like having this opportunity to meet people in the community who really are excited to be here and care about being belonging here, like having that sense of like, yes, I too am part of Nashua's success and part of Greater Nashua's success, and how much they're willing to contribute. I don't know if you heard about the Indian community and they call themselves the Masketeers, but when COVID first started, they mobilized like dozens, like almost nearly 100 people to start making masks and distributing them not only to the hospitals in New Hampshire when there was 0 masks to be found anywhere, but throughout the hospitals in New England.
Wow.
And they had this huge system of people buying fabric and cutting fabric and sewing fabric and making fabric, and it was all on WhatsApp, and the Burmese community contributed to that, and so One Greater Nashua was able to help them by purchasing fabric and purchasing a few sewing machines and getting them started. So, so that was really an immigrant-led effort, super well organized, and really benefited not only our community but lots of communities. And,
Absolutely.
And the opportunity for them to network helped by us knowing each other.
So I don't know a tremendous amount about the immigrant community. I would imagine we have some immigrants that came here, found their way to Nashua, but we also have refugees. So there are different issues really for both groups. Can you explore that a little bit with us? Or?
Sure. So the refugee resettlement process is a national, international process actually, and the State Department sets the resettlement quota, or the number of people that can come from different countries and resettle in the United States each year. Recently, it's been drastically reduced. Nashua has not been a primary resettlement community really until the last 10 or 15 years.
Okay.
It started to become recognized as a place where refugees could resettle. More often chosen was Manchester and Concord. And I'm not sure why that was. I think
I'm not sure either.
Just we were newer to the refugee resettlement. It could be related to the lack of affordable housing here. We just struggle with that in a lot of places, but the two populations that we serve in terms of refugee resettlement would be people who were displaced by the troubles in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and also the Rohingya
Which is
refugees.
formerly Zaire, correct?
Well, you're going to have to show me a map to know that for sure, or ask some of our
it was Zaire,
coalition members.
Yeah,
yes,
I always just have to, because that's the way I always knew it. But yes,
Yeah.
Okay. And the Rohingya?
And the Rohingya are Burmese Muslims who, honestly, the most persecuted people in the world. They're not recognized by their country, and they've been in resettlement camps in South Asia, like some of them their whole life. And so the opportunity to come to Nashua for the folks that are here, it's a small population, but they're just happy to be here, and they love the community, and they're really like starting to thrive. They work hard, but they've had it hard too because they weren't allowed school. So they were in refugee camps without access to school or the ability to work. And so they're really starting over when they come here. And we do the best we can to help them feel connected and welcome and figure out what information they need. They get very little support. The federal government provides for them like 3 months worth of resettlement support, and then they're on their own.
Wow, that's not very much.
It's not very much when you're learning a new language and learning a new culture and having come from a huge trauma. So the work that the faith community does is really important in helping welcome refugees, and all what we can do for each other and together, and the community itself working together. And then we have a great like multi-generational immigrant population, starting with French Canadians and Irish and Italians that came when the mills started in New Hampshire, all the way up to more recently folks coming from South and Central America to the United States, and probably to Massachusetts and Connecticut and Rhode Island, and then migrating. Right, yeah, for the value that New Hampshire brings.
Right.
You know, we're a really nice community. People love to be here. They love the schools. They appreciate that we're sort of a small town, a big town with a small town feel. People know each other. They work well together, and that's what I hear anyway from our coalition partners and coalition members, that they are really happy to be here and feel welcome. And it's not perfect, right?
No.
There's been a lot of anti-immigrant sentiments, as you know, nationally and in the state too, and that is super hard on people because that sense of being part of the community is so important. I'm a first-generation American. My parents were immigrants, and I know what it feels like to feel like the them and not the us. And they just so much want to be part of us and contribute what they can and make things better. So.
And we are a melting pot, no matter what you say, you know.
Absolutely.
The whole country is. It's New Hampshire is. We have to be. I mean, like you just said, like the economic advantages to having immigrants in our communities, and the diversity and the interest they bring. I came to know about One Greater Nashua working with public health, and we're working on vaccines right now. So we learned a lot about, or we've met. I only sat in on one meeting, so I'll tell the truth there. But I mean, we really wanted some help to figure out how to address vaccine hesitancy and how to reach some of these populations and let them know that, yes, you're welcome to a vaccine as well. One thing we throw around a lot of acronyms in public health, so I'm going to ask you. We're seeing a lot in the news, BIPOC.
Oh, yes. So it's Black, Indigenous, and other people of color is what that stands for. So it recognizes people who are in the minority. In New Hampshire, we're predominantly white, Caucasian, New Hampshire born, but the other folks that come from diverse race and ethnicities are typically in the minority, and their voice is underrepresented in decision-making roles. If you look at all of the decision-making roles in Concord, in the regions, in the towns. So helping people have a voice and recognizing that, we say we're a melting pot, but nobody really melts, And we saw, like, I'm Irish. I'm a first-generation Irish daughter of Irish parents, and that part of our culture doesn't go away. We celebrate things. We like the foods that we like. Italians who have been here for many generations still like their Italianness.
But you're going to have a safe St. Patrick's Day, right? You're not going to hang out in the bars all day.
It's going to be home. It's going to be on Zoom.
Excellent. Yeah. We keep promoting that as well at Public Health. But with the need to drink.
Right. But that is a strength of America, I think, is the sense of being a melting pot and being a a country of ideas and not necessarily people who are all born from the same place.
Right.
We, like a pond is stagnant, but a river continues to add ideas and flows in. So I think that immigrants really strengthen our country and have contributed greatly to our success because they bring new ideas and they bring this belief in the American dream that you can lose faith in if
Right.
you've been here for a little while. So they continue to refresh us as newcomers come, and I think that's probably true everywhere that welcomes newcomers. And
And I have to say, so when you tell me this, you're preaching to the choir, of
yes,
course.
yeah.
But public health has become really diverse, and we're really trying to reach some of these vulnerable populations. And refugees and new immigrants are absolutely vulnerable during these times.
Yes, absolutely.
And just learning how to navigate the system in a different language and all of those things. And we've engaged some community health workers, and they are all immigrants to our country, to this area. You're really like a twofold immigrant in many ways. And it is such a delight to have their perspectives and to have them help us wade through
Yes.
reaching vulnerable populations, reaching their own communities. People need to understand that, our governor has a 10% equity allocation, for example, for the BIPOC population, to reach these hard to reach populations because they're not faring as well through this pandemic. They're more
Yes, yeah.
susceptible to disease and worse outcomes. Many of them live in multi-generational households, so they're all coming together. So we really want to be able. So when you talk about the enriching of our community, I can speak for public health, how much they've enriched public health and brought their traditions and their understanding.
Sure.
And their explanations really help inform our work.
Absolutely, absolutely. And when we first started One Greater Nashua, Ken Shelton, who's CEO of Bank of America, or was at the time, I'm not sure. I'm sorry, Ken. I don't know if you're still there. But he was telling this story about how Main Street in Nashua's branch was doing phenomenal business. And they called and said, what did you do? Why are you selling so many enrolling so many people in new bank accounts? And what they had done was hire someone who was a Spanish speaker, which brought all of these people who were Spanish speakers to open bank accounts. And so, recognizing that diversity in hiring also helps your business and is good for your business, because when you substitute immigrant for customers, clients, and friends, who doesn't want more of those?
Right.
It's
I
not
love that. I love the way you put that. That's just makes so much sense.
Yeah. So that's it. It's really about the strength of the community and recognizing all the people that are here and the value that they bring, and kind of capitalizing on all of those values that make us a community together.
Wow. Well, on that note.
And it's a ton of fun. The food is awesome.
Yeah.
You do a multicultural festival when
That's a
there's
perk,
no
yeah.
COVID, and all of the restaurants
I went
help
to that
us.
1 year. I did. It was it at the Boys and Girls Club or
It was
PAL?
at the Elm Street School, and then it was at the PAL
Yeah, I went to
church.
the one at the PAL
Yeah.
church, and it was great. It was wonderful. I loved it. Having spent some time in Africa myself, I was like, oh, look, I can get these
I can
baskets,
see
and it was so fun.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you, Liz, so much for joining us.
Sure, my pleasure to be here.
It's just great to have these assets in our community. It makes us stronger, and we appreciate all the work you do and your passion for the work as well. So thanks for joining us. We'll be back again in 2 weeks. And a reminder that if you need a COVID test, we still have a clinic every Tuesdays from 3 to 5, 154 Daniel Webster Highway at the National Guard Armory. It is a drive-through clinic. We prefer if you have an appointment, you can sign up online, or you can call the COVID hotline at 589-3456. Be safe out there.